guys. I'm excited to share my final project with you. I was inspired by my midterm project on Generation Z to continue researching virtual reality in higher education. So I became more inspired during session 6 when we explored virtual worlds in class, and then again during session 7 when Danielle and Thomas presented UVisit virtual technology and Google Cardboard. And I thought that was exciting and a lot of fun. So the research that I was able to find was not really what I expected. I was really hoping to get a lot more into the effectiveness of virtual simulation in the classroom and things along those lines, but a lot of that's just very new, and so there wasn't a ton of research. There was some forecasting on the future of virtual reality and just some sort of present research, but there wasn't a lot of virtual reality research in regards to simulation. So I started with explaining the different kinds of virtual reality that there are, because there are a few different kinds. There's immersion, there's collaborative. So I will explain that, and I also went into sort of how we learn and how virtual reality sort of uses our senses to help us to learn and remember information. I went into the history a little bit of sort of original forms of virtual reality. I also was able to get some information about what's going on in history with virtual reality and how a lot of projects are underway to create virtual simulations for historical events and historical places and things like that. So I was able to find a really neat video also showcasing that as well. I found an interesting article that cited some research about how virtual reality is going to impact education, and some of the ways that that's going to happen is through overcoming social issues and integrating students more, making virtual reality possible when otherwise it wouldn't be, motivating students to learn, to want to learn, having a reward system rewarding success, and also inspiring students and engaging their creativity in the learning process. So we've all probably heard of Google Cardboard at this point, but I didn't realize how huge it was and how it's probably really going to change education by making virtual reality accessible. So I found some information on Google Expedition and how they are using the Google Cardboard to get themselves into classrooms, and so I was able to find a really neat video also illustrating that. Medical sciences is an area where virtual reality has been being used probably the most and has been used for quite a while. So I found some information about that and some how nursing schools and things like that are going to be using virtual reality in the future, and kind of out with the old and with the new. And I also found some information about forecasting technology and the hype cycle of technology and kind of where virtual reality is on the hype cycle. And that was part of the main research study that I focused on, and how we're going to get faculty and instructors to use virtual reality in the classrooms. So that was my main research focus toward the end. I found a really great study on barriers for faculty and what reasons why they would use something like virtual reality and reasons that maybe they don't. And so unfortunately, I learned the hard way that Powtoon does not integrate well with VoiceThread. So in this slide right here, you'll see several comments, and they're short, and one of them at the very end is a link to the Powtoon that I created, which actually presents the data from the study that I was looking at in regards to overcoming the barrier of sort of setting up our virtual worlds and then just leaving them sitting empty. So And then at the very end, I went into some of the possible obstacles, barriers, negative impacts of virtual reality. Well, there aren't really negative impacts necessarily. There are some possible barriers, so I did discuss that at the very end. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And thank you very much. I hope you enjoy.